He was the most dangerous man who ever lived. He killed 1,000 soldiers with nothing but a jawbone. He ripped a lion apart with his bare hands, the way you'd tear a piece of bread. He carried city gates on his back up a mountain, just to prove he could. And yet, right now, he's blind, he's chained, he's grinding grain like an animal in a cage, entertainment for the very people he was born to destroy. So what happened? What could possibly bring down a man that powerful? Most people will tell you it was a woman, that Delilah seduced him and cut his hair and that was that. But that's not the real story. The real story is something way more uncomfortable. Because the thing that destroyed Samson, it's probably destroying you right now, and you might not even know it. Stay with me. This one's going to hit different. Alright, so before we get into the destruction of Samson, we need to understand the world he was born into, because context changes everything. Israel at this point in history? It's a mess. And I mean a complete mess. There's no king. There's no real government. The book of Judges actually has this haunting line that comes up over and over. Listen to this. Everyone did what was right in his own eyes. Sound familiar? Sound like? Maybe right now? Yeah, we'll come back to that. So the Israelites have fallen into this cycle, and if you've read Judges, you know the pattern. They turn away from God. God allows an enemy to oppress them. They cry out for help. God raises up a judge, a deliverer, to rescue them. Things get better for a while, and then they do the whole thing all over again. At this point in the story, the Philistines have been dominating Israel for 40 years, 4 decades of oppression. And the people? Honestly, a lot of them have just accepted it. They've gotten used to it. They've stopped fighting. They've stopped even asking God for help. And that's when God does something he loves to do. He goes to the most unlikely person in the most unlikely place. A woman, unnamed in the text, we only know her as Manoah's wife. She's barren. In that culture, that carried enormous social stigma. She probably felt invisible, overlooked, maybe even forgotten by God. But she wasn't forgotten. An angel appears to her, and many scholars believe this wasn't just any angel. This was a Christophany, a pre-incarnate appearance of Christ himself. And the angel tells her something extraordinary. You will conceive and give birth to a son. No razor shall touch his head. He will be a Nazirite, set apart to God from the womb. He will begin to deliver Israel from the Philistines. Now, catch that word. Begin. Not finish. Not completely deliver. He will begin the deliverance. That word is important. It tells us from the very start that Samson was never meant to finish the job alone. He was a starter, and as we'll see, he couldn't even do that right. Not because he wasn't strong enough, but because he couldn't get out of his own way. But there's something else here I want you to notice. The Nazirite vow. A Nazirite vow had 3 rules. Just 3. Simple, clear, non-negotiable. 1. No wine, no alcohol, no grapes, no vinegar, nothing from the vine. 2. No contact with dead bodies. Absolute avoidance of death and uncleanness. 3. Never cut your hair. The hair was the visible symbol of your dedication to God. That's it. 3 rules. 3 boundaries. 3 lines you don't cross. Samson broke every single one of them. And he did it gleefully. But, and here's what nobody talks about, he didn't break them all at once. He broke them slowly, gradually, one compromise at a time. And that's what makes his story so terrifying. Because that's exactly how it works in real life, isn't it? Nobody wakes up one morning and destroys their life in a single decision. It's a series of small compromises. Each one feels insignificant. Each one feels manageable. And by the time you realize what's happened, you're already in the dark. So let's watch how this unfolds. Because the way the Bible tells Samson's story is actually brilliant. It's structured almost like a tragedy in 3 acts, and each act shows him crossing another line. Act 1, the vineyard and the woman. Samson goes down to Timnah, Philistine territory, and he sees a woman, a Philistine woman, and immediately, he goes back to his parents and says, and I love how blunt the original text is, I have seen a woman in Timnah. Now get her for me as my wife. Judges 14:2. Get her for me. Not I met someone wonderful and I'd love for you to meet her. Not I've been praying about this and I feel led. Just, I saw her. I want her. Get her. His parents push back. They say, isn't there a single woman among our own people? Do you have to marry a Philistine? And Samson's response? Get her for me. For she is right in my eyes. Judges 14:3. She is right in my eyes. Remember that phrase from earlier? Everyone did what was right in his own eyes? The narrator of Judges is making a devastating point here. Samson, the man set apart from birth to deliver Israel, is acting exactly like the broken culture he was supposed to rescue. He's become the problem he was born to solve. Now, on his way to Timnah, the text says he went through the vineyards. A Nazirite, walking through vineyards, already flirting with the boundary. And that's when a young lion attacks him. The Spirit of the Lord rushes upon him, and he tears the lion apart like it's nothing. Bare hands. No weapon. Just raw, God-given power. And here's what's fascinating. He doesn't tell his parents. He keeps it a secret. Why? We're about to find out. Later, he comes back the same way. And he sees the carcass of the lion. Bees have built a hive inside it. Honey is flowing from the dead body. And Samson does something that should make you stop and pay attention. He reaches into the dead carcass, the dead body, and scoops out honey and eats it. Vow number 2. Do not touch a dead body. Broken. And he doesn't just eat it himself, he gives some to his parents. But he doesn't tell them where it came from. He hides it. He shares the fruit of his compromise and covers the source. And isn't that how it always works? We enjoy the honey of our compromises. It tastes sweet. It seems harmless. But we never tell anyone what we had to touch to get it. We never reveal what we had to compromise. We just pass it around like everything's fine. Then he throws a feast. And the Hebrew word used here, mishteh, literally means a drinking feast. A party centered around wine and alcohol. Vow number 1. Do not drink wine or anything from the vine. 2 down. 1 to go. And here's the subtle horror of this. His strength doesn't leave. He's still powerful. He still does miraculous things. The Spirit of the Lord still comes upon him at various moments. And so Samson probably thinks he's fine. He's gotten away with it. God is still using him, so the compromise must not matter, right? Have you ever thought that? Well, things are still working out, so I must be okay? That's one of the most dangerous places you can be, because God's patience is not the same as God's approval. Sometimes the blessing continues not because you're on the right path, but because God is giving you time to turn around. Samson didn't turn around. What follows is a spiral, and it's honestly kind of breathtaking how fast everything escalates. His Philistine wife is given to another man. Samson retaliates by catching 300 foxes, tying torches to their tails, and setting the Philistine grain fields on fire. The Philistines respond by killing his wife and her father. Samson responds by slaughtering them hip and thigh, a phrase that basically means total, merciless destruction. Then he retreats to a cave. The Philistines come after him. And even his own people, the men of Judah, come to him and say, "Don't you realize the Philistines rule over us? What have you done to us?" Judges 15:11. His own people are more afraid of the Philistines than they are trusting of God's chosen deliverer. They've been oppressed so long they've started to identify with their oppressor. They tie Samson up and hand him over. But the Spirit of the Lord comes on him again. He snaps the ropes. He finds a fresh jawbone of a donkey. Fresh, meaning still attached to the recently dead animal, which means he's touching death again, and he kills 1,000 Philistine soldiers. 1,000 men, with a jawbone. And then he composes a little poem about himself. With the jawbone of a donkey, heaps upon heaps, with the jawbone of a donkey, I have struck down 1,000 men. Judges 15:16. Notice who's missing from that celebration. God. There's no praise, no thanksgiving. No, the Lord delivered them into my hands. Just Samson, congratulating Samson. He's become addicted to his own power. He's mistaken God's gift for his own achievement. And that's a terrifyingly common mistake. Then we get this short, brutal verse that a lot of Sunday school lessons skip. Samson went to Gaza, and there he saw a prostitute, and he went into her. Judges 16:1. No build-up, no explanation, no excuse. He saw. He went in. The same pattern as Timnah. I saw. I wanted. I took. The strongest man in the world can't control himself. He can kill a lion, but he can't say no. He can carry city gates on his shoulders, but he can't carry the weight of discipline. And I think that's the point. After sleeping with the prostitute, the Philistines set a trap at the city gates. Samson gets up in the middle of the night, rips the entire gate structure, posts, bar, and all, right out of the ground, and carries them to the top of a hill near Hebron. That's roughly 37 miles, uphill, with gates on his back. The power is still there. The purpose is completely gone. He's using God's gift for his own amusement, for his own ego, for his own story. And let me ask you something honestly, because I have to ask myself this too. Is there a gift God gave you that you've started using for yourself? A talent? An opportunity? A platform? A voice? Something that was meant to serve his purpose, but somewhere along the way you started serving yours? That's where Samson is. All the power in the world. No direction. No surrender. No accountability. Just raw strength with no wisdom. And into that exact void walks Delilah. Let's talk about Delilah, because she's not what most people think she is. The Bible never actually says Samson loved her at first sight. It doesn't even say she was beautiful. What it says is this: after this he loved a woman in the valley of Sork, whose name was Delilah. Judges 16:4. He loved her. That's the word used. And it's the first time in the entire Samson story that the word love appears. He desired the woman in Timnah. He visited the prostitute in Gaza. But Delilah? He loved her. And that made her the most dangerous person in his life. Not because love is dangerous, but because love without boundaries, love without discernment, love that replaces God's voice with a human voice, that is catastrophic. The 5 lords of the Philistines approached Delilah with an offer. Find out the source of his strength. Each lord will pay her 1,100 pieces of silver. That's 5,500 pieces total, an absolutely staggering fortune. For context, Judas betrayed Jesus for 30 pieces of silver. This is on another level entirely. And Delilah agrees, immediately. No hesitation. So she asks him, "Tell me where your great strength lies and how you might be bound." And what follows is this bizarre, almost playful back and forth that happens 3 times. Samson lies to her. She tries the fake solution. The Philistines rush in. It doesn't work. And they do it again. And again. And here's where I want to pause and say something that I think is really important. A lot of people read this story and think, how could Samson be so stupid? 3 times she tries to have him captured, and he keeps going back? 3 times she reveals that she's working with his enemies, and he stays? But before we judge him too quickly, haven't we all done this? Haven't we all stayed in a situation we knew was destroying us? Haven't we all gone back to the thing that burned us, telling ourselves this time will be different? Haven't we all ignored the obvious warning signs because the emotional pull was too strong? Samson wasn't stupid. Samson was addicted. He was addicted to the validation. Addicted to being wanted. Addicted to the feeling of being close to someone, even if that someone was actively plotting his destruction. And then she plays the final card. How can you say, "I love you," when your heart is not with me? You have mocked me these 3 times, and you have not told me where your great strength lies. Judges 16:15. How can you say you love me if you won't give me this? She weaponized intimacy. She turned vulnerability into a trap. She made him feel like withholding his secret was a betrayal of her, when in reality, sharing it would be a betrayal of God. And the text says she pressed him day after day until his soul was vexed to death. He was tired. Not in his body. His body was still the most powerful weapon on earth. He was tired in his soul. And that's the kind of tiredness that no amount of strength can fix. When your soul is exhausted, you'll give away things you'd normally guard with your life. You'll open doors you know should stay closed. You'll tell secrets that were never meant to be shared. And that's exactly what he did. He told her everything. The last vow. The last boundary. The last thread connecting him to his calling. He handed it over. She lulled him to sleep on her knees. And she called a man to shave off the 7 locks of his head. And then the most devastating verse in the entire story. Maybe one of the most devastating verses in the entire Bible. And he did not know that the Lord had left him. Judges 16:20. He didn't know. He woke up, and he said, "I'll go out like I always do. I'll shake myself free." He expected the power to be there. He expected the Spirit to rush upon him like it always had. But the Lord had departed. And that phrase, "he did not know," should haunt every single one of us. Because it means there was a gap. A gap between when God's presence left and when Samson realized it. He had been operating on autopilot, coasting on yesterday's anointing, going through the motions of a calling he had already abandoned. How long can someone live that way? How long can someone serve in ministry, lead a family, run a business, create content, sing worship songs, post Bible verses, without the actual presence of God? And the terrifying answer is, sometimes a very long time. They gouged out his eyes, the eyes that always led him into trouble, the eyes that saw the woman in Timnah, the eyes that saw the prostitute in Gaza, the eyes that led him by desire instead of by devotion. There's a tragic poetry to it. He refused to see what God wanted him to see, so eventually, he couldn't see anything at all. They brought him to Gaza. They put him to work grinding grain in the prison, the work of an ox, the strongest man who ever lived, doing the labor of an animal. The deliverer of Israel, now a source of entertainment for the Philistines. And this is what compromise leads to. Not suddenly, not dramatically, but eventually, inevitably, relentlessly. It starts with a vineyard you shouldn't walk through. Then, honey you shouldn't eat. Then a feast you shouldn't attend. Then a woman you shouldn't pursue. Then a secret you shouldn't tell. And it ends in a prison you never imagined. But the story doesn't end in the prison. And honestly, that's the part that wrecks me the most. Not the fall, the grace, but the hair of his head began to grow again. Now, the hair itself wasn't magical. It wasn't some kind of kryptonite situation. The hair was a symbol. It represented his covenant with God. And the fact that it was growing back, that was God saying something. I'm not done with you. Even after everything you've done, every vow you broke, every boundary you crossed, every gift you wasted, Every time you chose yourself over me. I'm not done with you." The Philistines throw a massive celebration to their god Dagon. They credit Dagon for delivering Samson into their hands. They're mocking the God of Israel in real time. And they bring Samson out as entertainment. The big joke. The punchline. But Samson asks the boy leading him to place his hands on the two central pillars of the temple. And then he prays. And this is the first real prayer we hear from Samson in the entire story. "O Lord God, please remember me. Please strengthen me only this once, O God, that I may be avenged on the Philistines for my two eyes." Judges 16:28. Now, is this a perfect prayer? No, there's still some me in it. Still some personal vendetta. But it's the first time in the entire story, that Samson asks God for strength instead of assuming it. The first time he acknowledges that the power was never his. The first time he surrenders. And God answers. He pushes. The pillars give way. The temple collapses. 3,000 Philistines on the roof. The 5 lords inside. And Samson, in the center of it all. So the dead whom he killed at his death were more than those whom he had killed during his life. Judges 16:30. In his death, he killed more than in his entire life. The mission he was born to begin, the deliverance of Israel from the Philistines, reached its peak in his final moment. Not through his strength, through his surrender. So, the secret that destroyed the strongest man in history. It wasn't Delilah. She was just the final instrument. It wasn't the haircut. That was just the final symbol. The secret was this. Samson believed he was the exception. He believed the rules didn't apply to him. That he could walk through the vineyard and not drink. Touch the dead and stay clean. Sleep with the enemy and stay strong. Give away his calling and keep his power. He believed that because God kept using him, God must be approving of him. That because the consequences hadn't come yet, they weren't coming at all. And that belief, that quiet, arrogant, deeply human belief that I can handle this, that is what destroyed him. Not weakness, overconfidence in his own strength. And I'll be honest with you, I feel the weight of this story when I sit down to make these videos. It's easy to talk about God. It's harder to walk with God. It's easy to create content about spiritual truth. It's harder to live it when nobody's watching. I don't want to be someone who talks about the power of God but doesn't actually depend on it. I don't want to be so busy telling you about God's faithfulness that I forget to experience it myself. And I think that's the invitation of Samson's story. Not judgment, invitation. Where are your vineyards? What's the boundary you've been walking right up to the edge of? What's the compromise that still tastes sweet because the consequences haven't shown up yet? Because the most dangerous moment isn't when the consequences arrive. It's the season when everything seems fine. When you're still strong. When things are still working. That's the moment. That's where the real battle is. But here's the grace of it. And I want to end here, because this is the part that matters most. Samson is listed in Hebrews chapter 11, the Hall of Faith, right alongside Abraham, Moses, David, and the prophets. After everything. After the prostitutes and the lies and the broken vows and the wasted decades. After the arrogance and the blindness and the chains, God still looked at Samson and called him a man of faith. Not because Samson was faithful, he wasn't, but because God is. And if God can write a man like Samson into the story of faith, if God can use a broken, compromised, stubborn, reckless man who wasted almost every gift he was given, then what does that say about you? What does that say about the calling you think you've disqualified yourself from? The purpose you think you've wasted too much time to fulfill? The relationship with God you think you've damaged beyond repair? Your hair is growing back. God is not done with you. The question is, will you stop being your own exception? Will you stop assuming the strength is yours? Will you bring your hands to the pillars and finally, surrender? Because the same God who gave Samson one last chance is the same God watching this video with you right now. And he's saying the same thing he said in that prison. I'm not done with you. If this story hit you the way it hit me, do me a favor, leave a comment and tell me which part stuck with you. I read every single one, and honestly, your responses help shape what I create next. If you know someone who needs to hear this today, send it to them. Subscribe if you haven't. I'm going deeper into stories like this, and I don't want you to miss what's coming next. I'll see you in the next one.